Good evening, everyone. My name, as you already know, is Carol Sligh, and the topic for today in the presentation, it's called Overcoming Obstacles and Living Your Dreams. So as you see, disclaimer, life as we know it has totally changed. It's changed for me. Let's see, and there was Zoom. So this is new for me, so please be patient. I just want to say thank you, Christina, for helping me, and also Jessica. And we're going to go ahead and get started here as I go through it. So the title is Start. And I'm going to start with Murphy's Law because it says everything is harder than it seems. Everything takes longer than it looks. And if it can go wrong, it will at the worst possible time, like right now. So I'm going to take a breath and I'm going to get started. Sometime during your lifetime, what's going to happen is that you will experience some form of obstacle. Now, one of the things is, let's face it, for about the past couple of months, I don't know anyone that hasn't had to experience something, whether it's directly or indirectly, because it's impacted you. But however, here's the thing. You can't always control what you encounter. But what we can do and what you can do is choose how you will respond. For about the next 30 minutes, we are going to go on a journey, and the journey is to focus on promoting a better you. That's right, we're going to overcome obstacles. I'm going to ask permission for something first of all. I need to be able to speak directly to you. I want to speak directly to your inner heart. I want to speak directly to your inner person. I believe that there's someone that needs to hear this message today. I don't know who it is, but the person that needs to hear it, they need a lifeline and some answers. So you're probably wondering, Carol, why exactly your heart? Well, I'm sure you've heard out of the abundance of your heart, the mouth speaks. Maybe you've heard out of your heart are the issues of life. So why speak to your heart? Here's the thing. Your heart leads to your mind. Now, some people say that your mind is here in your chest, in your heart. Some people say it's in your head. It doesn't matter. Here's the thing. Your mind, your heart leads to your mind, and your mind leads to your thoughts. Your thoughts, basically, generally, are going to generate what you speak and how you react. What you speak. What you speak, what you say, you hear. And because you heard it and because you said it, if you say it long enough, you will eventually believe it. Why is that important to recognize? Well, what you believe is going to be what you eventually become. I love what Theodore Roosevelt says. Theodore Roosevelt says, believe you can, and you're halfway there. You are to be commended for showing up today. This conference is awesome. I got a chance to sit in on a couple of the workshops, and there's a lot of meat, a lot of information that you can walk away with. Your success was showing up today. There was something that was inside of you that at 6 o'clock in the evening, you're choosing to be at this workshop all day today, periods throughout the day. You chose to show up. And you chose to show up because inside of you, deep down, I call it the hope gene. Well, the hope gene, I hope it will get better. I know what it looks like right now, but maybe there's a chance that I just need to just show up. The confident gene, I'm confident that I'll get through this. Why will you get through this? Because think back about 5, 10 years from now, past, you're here. Inside of you, there was a survivor gene. First of all, before I get started, I want to give a special thanks. Thanks, Dr. Warner. Thank you for your vision. Thank you that not only was there a vision and a dream, but you saw a need and you took action. Thank you, Jessica. Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Script Family 2020. It could not be possible without everybody getting together. And I get really excited about the community collaboration because that is so important, because everybody listening today, everyone that's here is here by no coincidence. And when we come together, there's a synergy. And I want to thank my personal support system, family, friends, dear friends, loved ones. You know who you are. And I'm the person I am today because of you, because of your love, your encouragement, and taking out the time. So I thank you. Let me go back here. 1 second here. Someone's helping me here, so hold on a second. And we take a breath here. My apologies, my system, and I have a little technical difficulty going on here. No, go back, one more. One more. Next one, okay. So just sit next to me and help me. Thank you. I'm going to have someone assist me with this. I apologize. Let me tell you a little bit about me. Thank you, and I apologize. First of all, let me tell you a little bit about me. I've been married, just celebrated 22 years, happily married, final answer. And of course, I have a beautiful daughter and assistant that's going to be she's a total joy to me. She's going to just help me just in case. And then also my husband. My husband was very instrumental because he really encouraged me to read. And I developed a love for books. After about 25 years ago, I went on a journey to discover what my purpose was. I wanted to find out more about me and why I was here and what I could contribute. Everybody has some story, everybody has something that they can contribute. And after about 20 years, I started to do research. I started to research about overcoming obstacles. And as a result, I ended up writing a book. And today I have the book. Well, right before I was going to publish it, let me say that my daughter, she was 5 at the time, and she says, I want to be a part of this. So I says, well, what exactly, how do you want to be a part of this? And she says, well, I want to draw the cover. Don't tell me what it means. I'm just going to go ahead and draw what I want. Just give me the title. Well, now I've come to find out, because NASA did a study, but the most creative time for a person is before the age of 5. And there's a study that NASA ended up doing about 4 and 5-year-olds, that how they're the most creative. And as the years went on, it started to diminish more. So that was one of the studies that I learned. So today, what am I going to talk about? I'm going to talk about what are obstacles. I'm going to identify 2 types of obstacles. Now we're going to talk about the obstacles. They are going to be both physical and mental, and I'll explain a little bit more in a moment. I'm also going to identify 3 main obstacles that prevent people from achieving goals and living their dreams. And we're going to, of course, have to talk about how to overcome them. Lastly, why is it important to build a personal support system? We're going to talk about that. And we're also going to mention, I'm going to talk about how it correlates to community collaboration. What are obstacles? Obstacles, in short, are going to be a single event or a series of events that have the potential to either prevent or delay progress. In other words, for purposes of this presentation today, anything that stands in the way of you accomplishing a goal, that is an obstacle. So during the 1940s, a group of experts, they got together and they determined, or they said, it is absolutely impossible for anyone to run a mile in 4 minutes. Now I know probably somewhere out there, we have an avid runner, so wait, this is the 1940s. And believe it or not, these experts went on to say, not only is it absolutely impossible for anyone to run a mile in 4 minutes or less, but if anyone was to even attempt it, it could end in severe bodily injury or even potential death. Well, for probably about 9 years or so, these experts were pretty much correct. That's until May 6th, 1954. May 6, 1954, a student from Oxford, England, named Roger Bannister, proved them wrong. Roger ran a 4-minute mile, a mile in 3 minutes, 59.4 seconds, shattering the 4-minute barrier rule. Now that's pretty good. But within 1 year of him running that, 24 other people also broke the 4-minute barrier rule. Why is this important? Well, I love what Nelson Mandela says. Nelson Mandela says, it always seems impossible until it's first done. But here's the other thing, what I didn't mention was several months before Roger broke the barrier, the 4-minute barrier rule, Roger went to Tokyo for the Olympics. When he went there, everybody just knew that he was going to come back with a medal. Roger went and he didn't receive a medal. Now, one of the things he shares is he slumped into a 4-month depression because of it. And he shares that he was going to quit running. His passion, he was going to stop doing it. But something inside of him was triggered on May 6th, 1954, that caused him to get up. And I tell you, it wasn't the weather, because that day, he says, was dreary. It was raining. It was cold. But he got up anyways because of that gene that I told you that I believe that you possess. That gene that I hope things are going to get better. I'm hoping for tomorrow. I know what it looks like right now, but I am confident that it's going to be better. So there are 2 types of obstacles. I talked about everyone at some time during your life, you're going to experience an obstacle. And the first one I'm going to talk about is physical. And the reason why I'm going to talk about physical is because that one's a little easier to manage. Physical. So if you imagine that you're driving down the street and maybe there's a pothole or there's debris on this road that you're traveling, well, you have some options. You can remove it, go around it. You maybe, if it's small enough, go over it or even go through it. Whatever it takes, because you're getting to your road. And if it's big enough, there's an option with the physical because it's more visual that you may say, you know what? I'm going to avoid going through this obstacle and take another route. So the physical is easier to manage and easier to identify. But the one thing that I want you to understand is that it requires you to do something. So I have a dear friend of mine and her son, he was a runner and he decided to run and jump hurdles in his late 20s. So I was talking to my girlfriend and she says, you know, he's older and he's now deciding to do this. So she says, so I'm encouraging him because this is one of the goals that he wants to accomplish. So he got really good at it. So I says, can I talk to him one day? I just want to ask some questions. So you have the hurdle in front of you. If you've ever seen Olympics and when they're running with the hurdles, then you can picture this. So I asked him, so when you're running and you see these hurdles in front of you, what is going through your mind? This is what he described to me. He says, well, I first of all have to be focused. And my thing is I look beyond what I see. I want for you to start to grab and look beyond it. Once again, inside of you, you have that hope gene. You have that confident gene because you are here today and you're here by no coincidence. Let's talk about mental. Well, mental is going to be a mindset change. So it's a little bit difficult, not impossible, but it is more difficult because if you can imagine a ball and chain, everywhere you go, this mental obstacle is coming along with you. It affects your thoughts and your behavior. Now, as I said before, everyone at some time will experience obstacles. No one is immune. But the thing is, you get through it. Your DNA carries a survival gene. That's right, a survival gene. This is made up of genes of your lineage of someone that you're carrying, that you are now carrying those genes, and they survived something. You also will survive. You're here. That is a start. So I talked about that after now. So let's go over what we've talked about. What are obstacles? We've talked about the physical and the mental. Now we're going to go into the meat of this, is the three main obstacles that prevent people from either accomplishing their dreams or their goals. Now, I picked these three because I believe these are the most essential for you right now. I believe that having these will help you in the time that we have, that it will change your life. Obstacle number one, allowing your past experiences to determine your future. I want to first of all say that someone may say, excuse me, that is not me. And bear in mind that these obstacles, someone may struggle with one and yet not another, or maybe it's a multiple of obstacles that throughout your lifetime you will experience. I want to explain first of all all the successes we have. The successes we have are absolutely wonderful. We are to be cheerleaders of ourselves and cheerleaders of others. But at the same time, allowing your past experiences to determine your future, we also have to remember that we continue to look forward. We continue to contribute, because as long as you're here, I believe there is so much greatness in you that will be unleashed and continue on and on. Now, if you're not in that category, and let's say that there is something that happened in your life, hurt, pain, regret, you cannot expect to go forward looking behind you. I want to add to that, because it is always important that you reflect, but at some time or another, and we'll talk about the resting portion, we move forward. And the awesome thing with community collaboration, I've listened to some stuff and I was taking notes, and it has been great with some of the workshops and the information that we are leaving here with and receiving, that we can now move forward and know that you matter, you are important, you have purpose, and you are here by no coincidence. So I have a friend that she's awesome at softball. Actually, she's one of my personal support. She's awesome at softball, and I was talking to her about baseball because her family is a lineage of into baseball, playing baseball, getting scholarships, doing really well. And in baseball, do you realize a batting average of 300 is like really good? What does that mean? If someone has a batting average of 300, that means they had to come up to bat 10 times. That means that you may not make it the first time, but you come back again and we try and do the best that we can. You see, someone with an average of 300 bat 10 times, hit the ball 3 times. That means 7 times they missed, but yet an average of 300 is very good. What am I saying? Just because you failed at something doesn't mean that you're a failure in life. I like to share this story about my mother, and she's doing well now. Thank God for that. This was years ago, and I still reflect back on it because it was such a learning experience. What we find is some of the obstacles and the things that we go through, we can learn from it. We grow and we get better, not bitter, better. So my mother, she experienced a massive heart attack, and she had to undergo a triple bypass. So I'm gonna disclaimer, I am not medically, that's not my thing. I will do whatever I need to do to help, encourage, cheerlead, that's more of me, but whatever, hands on deck, I'll do whatever's required, but we know what we're working with. So I went to go visit my mom and spending time. And part of the healing process with after the surgery is that the body's trying to heal itself. So they give you a pillow to hug, and she would cough to kind of, I don't know, keep it all together. And that was just some support that she had. So of course I'm sitting there the first time, and my mom asked for the pillow. I give her the pillow. She starts to cough, and all of these bells and whistles commenced to start to go off in alarms. So I did the next best thing. I jumped up and called the nurse. Let me just say a plug right here for all the medical, all the nurses, all the essential workers. Thank you, thank you, thank you for what you do. Thank you. So back to the story. My mom, she's coughing and the bells and the alarms go off. I call the nurse comes in and she fixes it. So this happens for a series of times. And then finally, the nurse calls me over and she taps on the screen. She says, "This is a monitor. And do you see the line that's going up and down? That is life. That's a good thing. Now, if it was a straight line, there'd be a problem. Because it's going up and down, the body is doing what it needs to do. When the heart is resting, there's a point that something happens to trigger it to go up." I had a friend of mine text me yesterday and they said, "Carol, I was reading an article and it said, we're in a valley right now, but the peak is on the way." What am I saying to you is, whether you're in an up or a down, it's subject to change. It's subject to change because there are ups and downs in life, but we adjust and we adapt as necessary. So one of the things to remember, number one, allowing your past experiences to determine your future. Acknowledge where you are, but recognize that's not always where you're going to remain. You're here right now. Showing up, that's a large portion of the success. I always like to give obstacle busters because remember, I promised that when I gave the obstacle, I've got to tell you how to overcome it. So I call them obstacle busters. I will basically talk about them while I'm also, while I'm explaining things, I do also include how to overcome it. But the obstacle buster for number one is embrace life. This too will pass. And there was Zoom. And guess what? It's the best thing now. Sure, there's a change. Sure, I'm adjusting. And this is a learning curve. But guess what? We're now able to be in our kitchen, in our living room, on the couch, and we are reaching the world. And so, sure, you've been catapulted into the future, but you're not alone. One step at a time. That's the obstacle buster. Do what you can when you can, and you will get through this. Now, I have to say something that's really essential to you getting through it. Forgive yourself. Forgive yourself and forgive others. You know, there's this quote that says, unforgiveness is like drinking poison and hoping someone else dies. So forgive yourself. Now, this is just a portion of it, but forgive yourself. I believe that's essential. And also forgive others.
Carol, sorry to interrupt you. You've got about 4 minutes to go. You're doing great.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. So I'm going to go ahead and start going through this so we get through it. Excuse me.
And you'll also have time in the Q&A afterwards for anybody that wants to go into a separate breakout room and do that.
Okay. So I'm going to just go over it really quickly then, because now my screen, something happened with it. I had a little problem going on here because I'm on obstacle number 2. Obstacle number two is going to be trying to do it alone. No man is an island, and we have to remember that. So one of the stories I just want to explain really quickly. There was a toddler, and he was playing in the yard. And while playing in the yard, he sees his dad working, and he asks his dad, "Can I help?" So his dad said, "Sure, go over to this area and start cleaning it up." There was this huge log that was there, and the toddler tried to pick it up. He couldn't pick it up, so he got really upset after trying a lot and began to cry. As he cried, his dad walked over there and said to him, "Hey, son, what's going on? What's the problem?" And he says, "I just can't do it. I can't do it." And he says, "Well, did you use all your strength?" And he says, did you use everything that you had? And he says, "Yes, I did." He says, "But you didn't ask me." Some things are really big, and we can do it all together as a group, which talks about community collaboration. So one of the things is that we've talked about that there's resources that's available that we can go to, professionals, friends, family, that we can go for support. And then obstacle number 3 is going to take action. I know what it looks like, but everyone is carrying genes of someone who lived through something. We are all survivors. We adapt, we figure it out. There's a process, and everyone has a part in it. You are a part of a movie, and you need to see yourself in that movie. You need to see yourself in your dream. You carry the solution to a problem. Some of the problems haven't even occurred yet, but you carry a piece of the puzzle that makes a greater picture. Continue to overcome, continue to live, continue to carry that hope, that confidence that keeps us going. Thank you.
Great job, and what an impressive tie-in to community collaboration too. Good job. If anybody that wants to go to the Q&A breakout room, send me a text or raise your hand and we'll do that. Remember, you can get Carol's book. I saw it on Amazon right now. It's a deal if you buy the Kindle edition. And although I don't have a Kindle, you can download that and read it on your computer, your tablet, anything else. So go check out that book. It's pretty cool.
Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to send you over to the breakout room and everybody else that's
Thank you.
requesting. Great job. Thank you, Carol.
Thank you.
Okay, so it'll take me a minute or two to.
And Carol, thank you so much for your kind words. And I'm going to put your book on Dr. Deborah's Things and More, so that people can also get it in the resources, because you're part of the Script family.
Thank you. Thank you. Love you guys. Thank you.
We've gotten the book. It's a wonderful book. So we highly recommend it.
Yep. And we love and adore you too. You have come quite a few years for us and always bringing us amazing information. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.